Hey, how are you guys doing? Today is our second tutorial on if statements, and we're going to be learning more about if statements. Today is a big day because we're going to be learning about operators. Now, operators are very, very important. They're used literally everywhere in programming, and you just can't make a good program without them. So what is an operator, I hear you ask? Well, the answer is right here. An operator is a symbol which tells the system to perform a specific mathematical operation. Now, there are many operators, many different types of operators. Well, the main mathematical operators, as you probably can already guess, are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So those are the four main ones. There's also logical operators, which basically make the program smart if you want to think about very generally. That is not always true, and that is very, very general, but basically think of it as that. They diversify the program flow and make it smarter. Um, so the three main logical operators you need to know are the OR, and NOT. Now, the logical operators are closely related to logic gates, and logic gates make up pretty much every digital system. And logic gates are even used in transistors. And what a logic gate is, it handles data. For example, there are many, I think there's 6 or 7 logic gates. There's the OR, AND, NOR, XOR, NOR, NAND, buffer, many logic gates. And basically they handle data, they process data. For example, the OR operator will return true if one or more of the conditions are true. So let's link it to the logic gates. What that means basically for the logic gate to be true, for the value of the OR gate to be true, the inputs, and logic gates usually have 2 inputs with some exceptions. 1 and 0 will return a true because one of the conditions has to be true. One or more of the conditions are true. This is a very key fact, as if we have a 1 and a 1, if both conditions are true, the OR operator will still return true because it's one or more of the conditions are true. The only case in which it will return a false is if the 2 inputs are 0 and 0. This will return a false, a 0. And basically in programming, as you probably already know binary, probably, I assume, a 1 is true, and a 0 is false. The AND operator is a little bit more selective. He's a little bit more of a buffy guy, if you know what I mean. Basically, what that means is his value will only be true if the first value is true and the second value is true, and all of the values are true. There can be more than 2, obviously, but it will only be true if all of the values are true. If one of the values is false, is a 0, it will return false. Now the NOT gate is a little bit of a weirdo. He's a little bit of a he's not quite there with the other logic gates because he has some peculiarities. First of all, he only has one input. And if the input is 0, the output is 1. If the input is 1, the output is 0. So basically it does the opposite. So if you enter a number, it gives you the opposite of that number. For example, if a condition is true, it will return false. If a condition is false, it will return true. Alright, so we can use obviously the 3 main logic gates in if statements and loops. And basically that's what we're going to be doing for the challenge. Remember last week I sent you guys a challenge to make a program which basically asks the user to input 3 numbers and outputs the largest one of the numbers, the largest number. And we're going to be creating this program using the logical operators. Now first of all, let's just declare 3 doubles for 3 numbers, and doubles because numbers don't necessarily have to be whole numbers. They could be decimal numbers, they could be real numbers, doesn't matter. Just makes the program better. Okay, num, and let's just initialize this value to 0. Then again, you don't have to initialize the value to anything. You can just leave it as that, but I'll just do it as best practice. Okay, so cout. Actually, you know what? We don't really need this. We don't need a new line there because we're going to be writing on the same line. I think it looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. I don't know, it just looks better. 2 and okay, so now we're reading into the free numbers, and now that we have the free numbers, let's do the if statements. Okay, so we need to say basically the logic of the program will work as follows. If, for example, let's take num. If num is larger than num2 and num is larger than num3, num is the largest number. And the same can be said about num2 and num3. Now I gave you a very important hint there. If num is larger than num2 and num is larger than num3. So you can probably already see what I'm getting at. We're going to be using the AND logical operator. And the way we do that is as follows. If num is bigger than num2, and this is the AND logical operator, basically two AND signs, num is bigger than num3. Okay? If num is bigger than num2 and num is bigger than num3, then we're going to say cout num largest number. Okay. Now we're going to write another one. Else if num2 is bigger than num and num2 is bigger than num3, right? Num2 is the biggest number, is the largest number. Okay? Oh, okay. Kind of lazy, so that's why I'm copy pasting all this, because I don't really want to type it all over again. So num3, so num and num2. Num3 is the largest number. And that's pretty much it. Let's just delete all this empty spaces. And that's it. Okay. Let's just run it now. So as you can already see, it's very, very basic and quite useful. And if we didn't use those AND operators, the program would have been at least twice as large. We could have still done it, but it would have been a lot larger and a lot clumsier looking. Now there's still even simpler ways of doing this program, which maybe I'll discuss later on, closer to the end of the C++ tutorials, which is even simpler. Okay, so 3.5, 3.6, 5.5. 5.5 is the largest number. Let's run it again. Okay, so 4.5, 5.5, 5.6. 5.6 is the largest number, as you can probably see, very, very basic. And I strongly suggest you write this program in your own IDE and just, to practice a little bit and learn and understand better how I've written this program. Okay, now let's write a program which uses the other two operators, the not and the or. And actually, I've written a program already. This program will basically ask the user for their age and if they have a driver's license. And if their age is over the age of 16 and they have a driver's license, they'll be like, the program will say you're allowed to drive. And if you're not 16 or you don't have a driver's license, the program is going to say you're not allowed to drive. Very generic, very interesting. All right, let's get started. Wait, what? Oh, crap. All right. Well, okay, let's write it again. Whatever. Okay. So what we're gonna need is string, driver's license. We're gonna ask the user if they have a driver's license. Now let's just say license. Why the hell not? License. And int age. Okay. Now let's ask the user for if they have a driver's license and for their age. Enter your age. Enter your age. Okay. Cout. Do you have a license? Okay. And yeah. NCN, of course. I'm gonna read into age here and so they have license and license. Okay. Now that we have both the license and the age of the user, I'm going to do the if statement, write the if statement. Okay, so now this is the tricky bit. Think about the logic of it. If either their age is not... So, okay, let's think of the scenarios in which they are not allowed to drive. If either their age is less than 16 or they don't have a driver's license. The important bit here is the or. We're going to be using the or quite a bit. But also we're going to be using the not. If age is not bigger or equal to than 16 or they don't have a driver's license. So we're going to be using both operators in a single statement. In the if statement parameters. Both operators. That's perfectly fine to do that. Alright, so let's write it now. So if, and this is basically how this means not, this means not equal. This means not equal to. This is not, but for now, we're just going to be using the exclamation point. Okay, if exclamation point age if not bigger than 15, and bigger than 15, remember, it starts at 16. What I could do is I could also say bigger to or equal to 16. But why would we overcomplicate things? And it's just simpler to say bigger than 15, because why the hell not? Okay, and this is how we declare an OR. The two, I don't even know what they're called, but basically these two things, that's how we declare an OR. Okay, if it's not equal to, if age is not equal to larger than 15, or license is equal to no. Because remember, we asked the question, do you have a license? So obviously the response is a yes or a no. Now we're checking if the response is equal to no. Because if the response is equal to no, that's straight away they don't have a license, they're not allowed to drive. However, there is a bit of a problem with this. For example, let's say the user inputs no with a capital N. Then the program will recognize it, and there will probably be an error or something unpredictable is going to happen. So what I strongly suggest is, in every single program, tell the user what the possible answers are. For example, do you have a license? Yes, this, or no. So basically, the Y means yes and the N means no. And here we can say, and if the user isn't mentally stupid, mentally retarded, then they're probably going to say N if they don't have a license and Y if they have a license. So, N. Okay. Okay, see out. You're not allowed on the road. Okay. You're not allowed on the road. Else, anything else, and anything else obviously means that if neither of these are true, then they should be allowed to drive. Now there is a bit of an error here, like not necessarily an error, but a little bit of a logical mistake by just using the if and the else. But for now, it's fine. You know, we can just ignore it. You're allowed to drive. Alright? Now I'm not sure if you spotted the little bit of a logical bug that could potentially happen here, but let's say the user, instead of their age, they enter some letter or their name, I don't know, then this won't fall either one of these categories. This will go straight to else, and what is inside of else? You're allowed to drive. And that's a bit stupid, right? Enter your age N. Do you have a license? I don't know, 50. You're allowed to drive. Doesn't make sense, right? But what we could do to prevent this potential bug, glitch, not really glitch, but yeah, bug, is we could do else if and put a condition that if both of these statements are false, if both of these statements are true, I mean by that, then you're allowed to drive. Else, anything else, invalid input. But for the sake of this program, I'm gonna keep it short, and you know, it should work just fine unless the user misreads the question and enters some N or something like that. But I explained to you guys how you could fix this if you want to do that in your own time. Okay, now let's just run this program and see how it works, shall we? Enter your age. Well, I'm 16. Do you have a license? Actually, I don't have a license. You're not allowed on the road. Damn it. But let's say I did have a license. 16. Remember, try all of the different combinations. That's how I look for bugs. Whenever I write a program, I try different combinations, right? And then I find if something doesn't work like it is intended to work, then you'll spot it right away. So you should try all different combinations of inputs. Okay, enter your age. 16. Do you have a license? Yes, I do. So, yes, these are all of the different combinations. And now let's try to spot that little bug. Let's say I'm stupid. Enter your age, Roman. See? You don't even have to enter if you have a license. It just straight away says you're allowed to drive, which is obviously a mistake, obviously a bug. Okay, guys, well, thank you for joining me so much. I really enjoyed making this video. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Give me suggestions if I'm doing something wrong, if you're not understanding something, or it's just the way I'm explaining things that you're not, like, you don't like. Just tell me and I'll try to kind of adapt my videos and make them a little bit more interesting, and or go a little bit faster, a little bit slower. Just spill out your thoughts and just tell me if you like my videos or not, but please don't be mean. If you want to criticize my channel, I really like when people criticize me, but it should be like constructive criticism, not just insulting me. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. We'll look at loops. Bye.